Hey, good afternoon. Here it is. We told you about it. We said, hey, look, any good news was going to make it happen. And here we go. President Trump now saying he will literally pause all except for China tariffs for at least 90 days. That's what we've been saying all along. I mean, we've heard so much negativity that it's just seemed to be too much. And when you have that problem, we have a God candle on our hands, and that's what we wanted to see, right? I think I'm pulling it up right now. There's your God candle right there. We've been talking about this for so long that, listen, if you are short, you're on the wrong side of the market because capitulation has already happened. You've seen two times, one and two times it has tested, and it was the news was so negative that it just didn't make any sense to me. And I've always said, and if you've been following us in the morning shows and lately, that I've been saying, look, the path of least resistance is to the upside. And here we are. And if you've been short, you were okay because you were listening to us by having limit orders and making sure that you didn't get hurt. If you were short, that's fine. But here you go. Those shorts got destroyed, and now they had to go long. So now we've had a double whammy with us, and now you've got an even longer time period of 90 days. The only one that he didn't go after was China. So all of a sudden, you've got a different feeling to this market all of a sudden. Now, I think the tops are ready to go. I don't think there's any stopping this now. If you look here, we blew right through that last resistance, and here we are at the last resistance of pulling up. If you pull up a daily chart, you can see now, I think the next level here, that when I've got Bitcoin up here right now, but I think the next level here could be 90,000, 89.3 here. We could really run here. For those of you who know, I went pretty long, 77.3. We're at 82.1 now. So when I was talking about it from the perspective of politics and the White House, and I said, look, I needed two things. I need clarity, and we need a plan. And clarity is a lot easier when you don't have so much chaos going in the Oval Office. We talked about that this morning with Howard. We talked about that on the show last week and this week. And when you saw that come off, when you saw that chaos kind of push away a little bit, and you saw somebody who's seasoned like a Scott Bessent, who's been in the markets for 35 years, as long as I have, and says, look, I get it. We get it. And the other countries are coming to the table. They have been screwing us for decades. And I agree with the president. Absolutely. This is what you needed to do. But what's happening was we were seeing the sledgehammer politics going, okay, I'm just going to beat everybody over the head with these tariffs. That's not going to work. And the bond market told you that. The bond market sold off yesterday. We're up 2,500 points now in the Dow. That's exactly what happens when you see everybody with negativity. You saw the shorts on, and now they're completely gone. Yesterday, I was on 3 different shows. All of them were so negative yesterday. I was like, my goodness, this is why I'm even more positive than yesterday, and I'm happy today, right? Why? And if you're following me on the show, you know damn well we did very well here. And so all of a sudden, you see Scott Bessent saying, look, I've got a plan. And he brought a plan. He literally brought a plan to the Oval Office, and the president agreed with it. And that's the kind of clarity you need to have out of the Oval Office. I'm very proud now to say, hey, this is what we said at Quasar Markets. It wasn't being political. It wasn't being, hey, this is the way the market's supposed to be. This is just saying, you know what? This is what we need to see out of a mature White House saying, hey, look, we've been beaten up. We're not going to go after sledgehammer politics anymore. We're going to have a clear and concise policy, bring over 65 countries to the table. That's hard to do. We didn't see that in the last administration, and we sure didn't see the administration before that one. So this administration is saying, look, I get it. I'm a little hard-nosed. It's not the art of the deal. So quit saying art of the deal. It's not art of the deal. It's saying clarity. It's saying we know what to do now. Here's what we're going to do, and told the world this is what we're going to do. Very proud. This is a good moment for the White House. Clearly a win. Let's see where we go with this. But I'll take comments from everybody out there. I know you guys are all coming in now, but let's be real honest. That God candle is looking really good, especially in crypto. We're now at up 82,000 right now. There's a little bit of profit taking, totally understand, because we're getting back to there. But I don't think there's anything to stop this. There's literally nothing to stop us, because right now, the only country now is China, and we already have a huge deficit with them. We literally spend 5 times more than they buy from us. So that's going to have to get cleared up somehow. But in the meantime, in the next 90 days, 3 months, you're going to have to hear from Japan and Vietnam and countries that we deal with. So look, that's exactly what's going to happen. There's no stopping this at this point, right? There may be some profit taking. Good. I understand. I can totally understand that. But to me, there's nothing here to stop any of this. If you look at the Dow right now, I'll pull the Dow up right now. Dow is a stop. We're about to clear that. There's a huge gap here. We saw that when the big sell-off back on April the 3rd. And here we are. We just closed that gap. We got another gap to go up here at 41,853. So we probably have literally another 2,000 points to go. So there is nothing stopping this right now. We can continue to go up. We're going to see more shorts clear up as the president makes more wins on Japan and Vietnam and Cambodia and all the countries that we have deals with. And as Europe starts to come together too as well, you're going to see this is just going to be the beginning of this, right? Because you're going to see a much clearer picture with other countries. Now, do I think it's going to be 10% across the board? No, but that's a good starting point, right? And I think that makes it a lot clearer. And if we can get closer to no tariffs on, I think this is exactly what Elon Musk was talking about, right? If we can get back to a fairer trade, great. You put 10% tariffs on us, we'll put 10% tariffs on you. We understand that we're a consumer country. We get that. We understand that we are a service country. We get that here in the United States. But if you look at Europe, they manufacture cars, right? If you look at other countries, Nike is produced in Vietnam. So Vietnam said, hey, you know what? Stop. We'll come to the table. No tariffs if you don't tariff us. Great. That's a change. That's a huge 180-degree change from yesterday and the day before. And that didn't take much, right? I mean, we've talked about this on this show that, look, if you're thinking about going short, why? Tell me your thesis. Explain it. Oh, because the world's ending tomorrow? The world's not ending tomorrow. It's literally just saying, hey, we need clarity. And if there's anything in the markets they can't stand is when they don't know. They don't have a clear picture. It was so bad that the Delta Airlines CEO came out and said, you know what? I'm going to suspend guidance for the whole next year. Suspend guidance for a whole year. That's not normal. Right? You want to tell people, hey, look, we have good numbers coming in, more people flying. Boeing can say, hey, look, I'm making more planes. General Motors can say, hey, look, I'm making more cars. That's forward guidance, right? But you saw that in Q4 where most companies were almost all of them, 88% of companies beat on earnings in Q4. That's huge. That's a great number. But what happened in the markets? Almost all of them said, we don't know what's going to happen. These new policies, we don't understand it. You heard it from Powell all last week saying, you know what? I don't know where these policies are going. I don't really know how the tariffs are going to affect the markets. Well, now you know, right? Because you saw it. Well, you put heavy tariffs in the markets. You add an extra tax to the American consumer. It's what it is. It's a permanent tax. There's no reason for it. But in order to get other countries to come down, I like this. This is great. Now there's 3 things here. We have clarity. We have a Secretary of the Treasury who goes, look, I get it. I understand. And you know what? We're going to have a much different policy in place. And we're going to deal with these countries one by one. Great. That changed that too. And the third thing this does, it brings every country to the table with us. So no longer are we going to have these trade deficits. So you've got to be happy. Now, listen, I heard a lot, that other countries are going to write checks to us. That's not how this works. Anybody in politics, I'm saying that is just stop, right? That's not how it works. They don't just write checks to us. Right? The tariffs are a policy based on goods and services that we purchase, and we as consumers have to swallow that, or the company that brings that over here to us has to swallow that. There's a lot going on, right? It's not just making it over there in tariff. It's not, and it's also what we call carry trade, where you got other things coming over to us. You got to pay for the transport. There could be a tariff on the transport because it's a foreign country. There's a lot of things going on. So this tariffs aren't just one tariff or 2 tariffs. It's a lot of tariffs. So if you're saying, okay, let's stop, let's recut the cloth here a little bit, let's go back to where we were, and creating a consumer-friendly environment with a consumer-friendly and a government-friendly organization, then all of a sudden it's different, right? And you just saw the FOMC minutes come out here. You see it right there. Number of factors could restrain consumption and financial conditions because they didn't know. But now you have a clearer picture. I think it's go time. I said this over the last, if you were with me the whole time, you are smiling all the way to the bank today, right? If you got nervous over the last, and listen, I get it. It wasn't feeling good over the last 2 weeks. But you know what? As I always say, this too shall pass. And it did pass. Because cooler heads, as I mentioned this morning, mentioned yesterday on the show, mentioned the day before, cooler heads will prevail. And cooler heads did prevail, and here we are. And listen, I want to say thank you all, though, for watching Quasar Markets because we brought it to you. I mean, you see all these other channels out there, and they're telling you things that just really aren't true. It's not true. They're making stuff up. These kids are like 2 years old trying to tell you how the markets are. I've been doing this for 35 years. I want to, hey, Market Shark, exactly. I want to bring you a quality platform, a quality company for you guys. Because you know what? I'm tired of people getting screwed over. So this is what happened when I've been watching these other companies going, hey, oh my God, be shorted and buy zero DTEs. That is not what you do. This is how you play the markets. And as I've been saying, if you've been pearl clutching your charts are worthless over the last 2 weeks. If you saw a double bottom, great, that's cool, but your charts aren't meant for you to live on them all day long. You have to understand the markets. You have to understand the rest of the complexity of the whole world because the whole world matters. It's one of my rules, right? If something happens in Japan, it's going to affect us here in the United States. How does that happen? Thanks, Carlo. I appreciate that. And look, that's what I'm trying to say to you. I'm trying to help people go to the next level. I've had the advantages. I've worked in the White House. I've worked in the State Department. I've been the PGA, NBA, NFL. I've done it all, right? I worked on Wall Street, and I'm going to go up there in a few weeks, right? This is what I do. But when you talk about the markets in general, and somebody goes to you, well, I have this chart, and it looks like this, and this is what it's telling me, right? That's not the way it works. This is how it works, right? You use your charts to help you. Charts show you where the markets have been and will show you where the markets could go if things happen. But you had to see the things to happen in order for the charts to work. So now you have the news. So tell me how the news affects you, right? I can tell you because I know how things are working. I had 8 conversations yesterday with algos. They all said the same thing. Yeah, we're not really using numbers. We're not really using our charts. We're using Twitter. Right? Well, why? Because you want to know what the news is saying. You want to know exactly how things are working. So here we are. We're putting this all together for you. It's a free sign up. Just join Quasar Markets. You'll see all the things I have. Google Trends, keywords, get a newsletter. It's all AI. It's telling you exactly. I knew these things a week ago because of the AI. It was telling us this, that there was going to be a change, that we cannot sustain the way we are as a country for the next decades. We've had these problems for decades. So the president says, hey, you know what? Sledgehammer politics. I didn't like it. I don't agree with him about it. I called him out several times in the show. I said, we need the 3 things of which we got. He backed off, said 90 days pause, and let's come to the table in his bargain. Japan is sending a whole delegation to us, not us going there. They're coming here. So that tells you the markets aren't even done going up. There may be some profit taking, and I totally expect that, or that'd be silly, right? But look, if you're long with me, you're not just long and holding on and taking your profits. You've got your what? You've got your stop limits in, your trailing stops, because you can keep on going. You got your profits locked in. If things go wrong, good. They locks you out and go on. But that's what I'm trying to tell you. That's what I'm trying to tell the people. I don't want to see. There was too much negativity in the markets. And we talked about that. We talked about Ukraine. We talked about China and Taiwan. We talked about what's going on in Russia. We talked about Europe and Germany's problems. There were so many issues. And yet the market still, for the most part, held up. Bitcoin pretty much held up. That tells you everything to me. That told me everything. And your charts, and I'll show it again, showed you here they are, 1 and 2. 2 dips. I called the bottom. Yes, it tested at the bottom again. But a capitulation happened, not once, twice. And lightning does not strike 5 times in the same spot unless you have a lightning pole up there. And that's what happened. So when you saw those things, yeah, then the charts help you. But the charts are worthless when you have those kind of news, right? Now you have gaps in the markets, and there's your big gap there. You got another gap. Guess what? It's probably going to fill that gap too. And we're probably going to pass that up. especially as you see over the next 3 months, these country delegations comes to here, right? They come here. So look, I get it. Trump is such a gent. This man gave the public the nod to buy, does what he says. He did. He told you today what to do. He told you to buy. Now listen, I'm not a Trump fan. I'm not a Biden fan, right? I have to play the game as a rule of mine. Play the game in front of you. And the game in front of you is clear, right? It's very clear now. They made it even clearer, and the markets love clarity, right? I don't care who the president is, as long as they're doing the right thing and trying to make it better for the whole world, right? And not just for us, and trying to do the right thing, right? And this president, listen, he's got problems. He's got issues, and we all know it. He's a liar. We know these things, right? But he's a president. And if you know me, I wrote one of the biggest dissertations on paper, why good people make bad presidents and bad people make great presidents, right? This is exactly what's happening, right? But we have clarity. We finally have something in this market that we had not had for since literally Inauguration Day. We did not know what he was going to do. And we did not know. There was chaos in the Oval Office. We know that. We've seen the news. We had Elon Musk calling Peter Navarro a moron. Like, he's dumber than a box of bricks. Like, that doesn't happen in the Oval Office, people. I know. I've been there. I worked there. I get it. You don't say those kind of things. That's chaos. Now Trump has cleared that out and said, look, here's what I want to do. I have a clear picture. Scott Bessent said, look, they didn't have a plan. And anybody says they had a plan, that's nonsense. They didn't have a plan. They admitted it finally. But now they have a plan. Now they know what to do. Now they got to say, okay, we're going to make these countries come to us and sit down and look, I don't want to hear the words bend the knee and rip the Band-Aid off. Stop the rhetoric. Get down to basics. Understand fundamentals. Understand where the stocks are. Stocks are extremely undervalued. I heard the other day, oh, stocks are so overvalued. They're 25. Man, they've been undervalued compared to where they were, right? And we're not stopping. The country is not stopping. Apple is not stopping innovating. AI is still growing. All of these things that we've been talking about, Howard and I've been talking about, are still going. Quasar markets, I haven't stopped building. We're still building at Quasar markets. We're not going to stop. Technology is not going to stop. We're going to build better cars, and we're going to build better technology and better computers and better things, right? That's not going to stop. But when you add tariffs and you add uncertainty to the markets, that's not easy. And people pull back their consumerism. I look at Amazon a couple of times and go, you know what? Do I really need that new computer? No, I don't. So you know what I'm not going to buy. And that stops the world. That's what stops the world, right? That's what stops consumerism and keeps the whole machine going. But when you start to raise those tariffs and look, I've said it. If you listen to me, I said the other day, I said the two things we're addicted to: bad politicians, and we're addicted to big screen TVs. We're addicted to our toys, right? That's okay. I have toys everywhere around me. I love it. But we're not going to spend if we can't understand, right? What's going to happen tomorrow? I don't know. Am I going to lose my job? Is this going to happen? When people are in that position, they're not going to go to it. They're not going to go to work feeling happy. They're going to go to work saying, I got to go to work because I don't know what I can do. That's not the way I want to live, right? I want to live in a happy country. I want to live in an educated one, and I want to live in one that's vaccinated and people are healthy. And this is nonsense. Get back to basics. Get our country back working again, and let's go. Right? There's no reason for half of this stuff. Let's get back to basics. And I think that's what's happening right now. For the first time, I think, and I want to even say in the previous administration, we saw really bad things happening there, right? We saw where mergers and acquisitions were being stopped. Why? Why were mergers? Because they didn't want a monopoly. Well, you know what? Small companies need to be acquired by bigger companies because that's how the world works sometimes. I don't want to see monopolies. Nobody does, right? That really raises a tax on people because then your margins get bigger and then you don't buy the things anyway, right? If you have one or two airlines. But why Spirit and JetBlue? Why was that stopped? That was silly, right? So what we want to see is this administration be more wide open. Lower rates. Come on, Fed, get with it. Lower rates. Make it easier for people to borrow money so that we can build. Get the tariffs down. Make sure we don't have a big deficit. This is not hard to understand. So I think finally we have an administration. Now look, there's going to be some problems, and there's a long way to go in 3 months. It may go right back to it, and he gets mad again as a crazy tweet again. We don't want that. Stop the tweets, Mr. President. Get back to basics. Start to create a whole dynamics around the world. And I think we could actually be the best country once again on this planet. But we have issues here, and so because of those issues, we got behind, right? We got behind on deficits of other countries, and our deficit at $1 trillion a year is unsustainable. So I applaud the president, I applaud Doge, but don't do it at the backs of people that are working. Don't do it on the backs of people that you're gonna replace everybody at IRS. You're gonna get rid of education, no, that's not the way to do it, right? There's so much waste in the government. Get rid of that. I like that, but sledgehammer politics never works. It didn't work in the 30s when we were in depression. It didn't work in the 80s, and it's not going to work now. It never does. But I love the fact that we now have clarity. We're getting back to basics. All the things that Howard and I have been talking about over the last at least 2-3 weeks now. It's now come to fruition. And I think you've got a clear sailing. Look at that. Dow's up 2,500 points. That tells you everything. That tells you everything, that people are okay with it. Shorts got burnt. Screw you, shorts. Thanks for watching Quasar Markets Live. And listen, I look forward to seeing you on the platform.